parent should ever have to sort of see their child suffer or pass away before they do, but equally, you know, they know it's important for me to talk about it with them, because if you keep it all in, then, you know, it'll just drive you insane. After about 6 weeks, there was a knock on the door, and it was the CF nurse, and she had the results from my heel prick test, which was given to me at birth. After 6 weeks, the results came in, and it showed that I was positive for cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis affects one of the proteins that controls salt and water movement between your cells, and this results in you having lots of thick sticky mucus, particularly in your lungs, pancreas and liver. All gone.
Do you know if there's been like big changes within this 50 years for the research?
There's been changes in terms of like the daily treatments, so like old-fashioned nebulizers that I used to have when I was sort of 4 or 5, big massive things, big compressor and big mouthpiece and everything, have now been turned into inhalers and mini little nebulizers that can take about 2 minutes rather than the old 20 minutes. So in terms of like your everyday life, yeah, they really have improved things, but in terms of a cure, they're nowhere near. So there's not been anything. There's things that are now there to sort of keep your condition stable, but there's still nothing there to improve your condition. I found out that I was going to have a shortened life expectancy when I was about 13. And I was at high school, and we had to do a presentation to the class about something, and I decided to take the opportunity to sort of explain to my form and class about my cystic fibrosis. In doing so, I also found out about the average age and life expectancy, and it was a big shock. I was very upset, and obviously I confronted mum and dad about it and asked them why they hadn't told me, and they said, you know, it wasn't that they deliberately hadn't told me, it was just there never seemed the right time, and I suppose for them to have to tell me was really hard. So anyway, after talking to them and things, we decided that, you know, just go, you don't know what's going to happen, just go see how things go and make the best of what I've got. So my whole life I've never really wanted a lung transplant, because a lot of it was because I was scared and I'd heard a lot of horror stories. But then as my condition has deteriorated so much over the past sort of year and a half, and seeing Emma decline and how fast it can happen, and the fact that Emma had the courage and the strength to try and get a transplant, I decided that I was going to try as well, because I realised if I didn't, then I could have a really quick decline as well, and I hadn't even tried. I think that was the thing. I thought, I've now got to do everything in my power to try and beat CF. I can't just let it take over and beat me. I want to beat it.
What's the process of going on the transplant in this?
It's really complicated, actually. So you'd think, oh, Holly's decided she wants a transplant and she needs a transplant. Okay, we'll just put her on the list, but it's really not that simple. There's about sort of 12 to 15 tests in total that I had to have in Leicester. A heart echo scan, x-rays, ultrasounds, CT scans, loads of blood tests, a bone scan, exercise testing, lung function test. They said they were really happy with the majority of my results, and they thought I was a really good candidate for transplant. But there was one problem, and that is that about 3 years ago I grew a bacteria called Abscessus microbacterium, and if you transplant lungs into someone with this infection, they become reinfected straight away than your lungs do, and actually the scar from where they cut you open and do the operation never heals. Although I've not grown the bacteria that they don't want me to have for 2 years now, I've been on antibiotics that could treat it. They said to me, you need to stop these antibiotics for 3 months and then send us a load of samples to the lab to be tested. And if you haven't grown it, then yes, you can have a transplant. And if you have grown it, transplant isn't an option for you.
Do you feel as your family and your friends know enough? Do they understand what you're actually going through?
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I've got a really good set of friends and really close family that all really look after me and look out for me, and you know, they don't question when I ask them to maybe go get me if I'm in my bedroom and I ask them to go get me a drink from downstairs. They don't think, oh, for God's sake, Holly's so lazy. They just know that for me, going down the stairs and back up again is probably going to cause a coughing fit that results in me being sick and things. So just little things like that really mean a lot. So I'm really lucky, but obviously I don't want to be like that. I don't want to have to rely on them in that way. I want to be just one of the girls. To have a transplant and to be able to wake up and have a normal life in terms of being able to breathe and not have to worry about going up and down the stairs or walking from the shops to the car park sort of thing. It would just mean that the quality of my life would be greatly enhanced and I'd be able to have a lot more memories.
The planning that you put into it made it so that it was absolutely brilliant, and the help we've had from everyone, we could not have done it without you all. Thank you so much.
Cheers!
Here's to Holly!
Your family deal with it well?
My mum and dad, like, I can talk to you quite a lot about it. I mean, obviously, no parent should ever have to sort of see their child suffer or pass away before they do. But equally, you know, they know it's important for me to talk about it with them, because if you keep it all in, then, you know, it'll just drive you insane. I think my brother and sister find it difficult to talk about. You know, they don't want to have to imagine a life without me. And, you know, I'd love to go to their weddings and see them succeed in life and things like that, and be an auntie. And I think for them, the prospect of not happening is more than they can deal with at the minute. When you die, it's a huge loss for a lot of people, but through it, it can be a massive gain and life-changing for other people, and you can give life to people that would never have had it had you not been a donor. I think people need to ask themselves, if they were in the position of needing an organ, would they take it, would they receive it? And if they do, why aren't you donating it? Even I'm signed up to be an organ donor. You know, I don't know what I can donate. You know, people probably think, oh, she's not well enough to donate anything, but that's not my decision to make. That's the professional doctors can make that decision for me. And if I can improve someone's life, then that's amazing. My hopes for the future is just to spend as much time with my loved ones as possible, making really incredible memories and making the most of the time that I've got. Obviously, I hope that I'll get a lung transplant and that I'll get to have a longer life with a better quality. That'd be the dream, but if not, then I'm just determined to sort of make the most of the time that I have got and raise as much awareness about CF and organ donation as I can, so less people have to go through what I have.